Hello, my dear friends. Always a great pleasure to work with a bunch of great people out there, And these questions you have are so important. Just so many of you are suffering. It's just overwhelming sometimes. Sad at the same time how many of you have so many problems. But I want you to all remember that it's all fixable. And if you can't fix your physical body, it's time for you to have fun and go take off from this rock spinning through space. And you should look forward to it because the beauty is astronomically better. Anybody that's had out-of-body experiences and conscious soul will tell you that the beauty in the God worlds are unreal. And so you never should be afraid of just changing and moving your attention. We get attached here real easy with animals and plants and people and all of that. Nature of things. But in the reality of it all comes out of the same soup. So, this is Merlin. Hi, Dr. Morse. First of all, thank you for doing what you do. You're welcome, my dear one. You give me hope. I hope so, because here's the thing. On this planet has had screaming. You can hear the screams from afar of despair and hope from this planet. It's unreal. So we all want to give this whole planet hope. We all want to share what you know with others so they can have hope. There's nothing more fulfilling than to see someone coming out of a world of despair. And especially a mother losing their children, guys. Sad stuff. My name is Melly, M-E-L-L-Y, and I am 28 years old. Now, I just shut off another video a little earlier, and boy, there's so many of you that are from 20 to 30 that have the skin, the lymphomas, the MSs, a lot of them. A year ago, I began experiencing weird symptoms out of nowhere. Some of my symptoms are hypoglycemia, which is low blood sugar, night sweats, all right? When you get night sweats, go back to ask yourself, okay, the skin, the largest eliminative organ. I could have a little hyperthyroidism, but I also could have what? Kidneys not filtering, but skin able to sweat. You will find that you will oversweat or have night sweats when your kidneys are down or when you're detoxifying at a high level. Okay, so these are clues. Heart palpitations and anxiety. Okay, so let's go back to all these four symptoms: hypoglycemia, night sweats, heart palpitations, and anxiety. All those four things could be just the kidney and adrenals. The heart palpitations, though, it also could come from the thyroid, parathyroid glands, but the adrenals, remember, are neurotransmitters. And it could come from stomach problems, actually. It could come from stomach problems. Why? That's the seat of the autonomic brain. That runs everything. See, so you can have trouble in your GI tract and have trouble everywhere else. That's why you always focus on the GI tract along with the kidneys and adrenal glands. The anxiety is coming from where? The adrenal glands, right? Right. The blood sugar, the low blood sugar, what gland is that coming from? The adrenal glands, right? Right. So it's suggestive of low cortisol levels. Now match what the blood shows. Very inaccurate way of determining cortisol or steroid levels. I can tell you right off. They'll show normal and you'll have symptoms out the butt. Brain fog, well, that's a totally different thing. Okay, so now we're looking at that system that's down because of the hypoglycemia, the night sweats, the heart palpitations, the anxiety. Now we're seeing some symptoms from that more like brain fog, forgetfulness. Now that, more upstairs. And again, the same system. When you have these problems, which system goes down with that? Not the blood system. No, the lymphatic system. So here we go again. Your lymphatic system down. Here comes the brain fog. And the brain fog can be from either lymphatic stagnation, a lot of acidosis in the brain, where just from the swelling in there, or the plaquing, or the occlusiveness of that, all. But also high fungus can cause the same thing. High candida problems. Forgetfulness, the same thing. Same thing. You can be going down in your brain from acidosis at 28 years young, or you can have heavy, heavy candida problems. Emotional, of course, that's your anxiety, that's your adrenal glands. At 28 years young, you're going to have kidney and adrenal weaknesses. How much do you have? That's the only question. Not really if, because the symptoms all tell us what's going on. Now, don't forget to take a picture of the eye. Your picture of your eye then shows the layout of your genetics and your lymphatic system. That, hands down, if I can teach you guys how to read that, where you guys really get it, you'll shock everyone you come in contact with, because you'll be able to read all that they're going through. Oh, I see your knee's bothering you. Well, right knee, how'd you know that? I see it in your eyes. Oh, you must be voodoo. Well, what about that hip? Well, yeah, how'd you know that? Low blood pressure. Well, where are we back at? We're back at the adrenal glands again. You can about, not always, but you can about assume low blood pressure, low blood sugar. Now, same glands, but different parts of the gland. In other words, cortisol, or all the steroids, come in the cortex, cortical cortex, and the medulla oblongata. The medulla is the neurotransmitters. From a sit to stand position, it don't matter. Your adrenals are you're again, and at your age, you're just about, and in my experience of being on this rock and watching all these cases through the years, I'm going to say genetics, how much? And most recently, my eyes are always red as if I'm tired. Remember, we talk about the sclera, the white portion, and that those little capillaries relate to acidosis. And whenever you have acidosis in the body, you have swelling in the body. And the little capillaries in the eye can be red, much like the iris, except not as in depth. But I do like those. And anyway, the capillaries there, when you see your own, remember you tie one on? You tie one on, you really come home bloodshot. You're really tied one on. That's acidosis, because when you tie one on, you get very acidic. So that's the sort of thing. And so that's telling you that you have systemic, that means head to toe, acidosis. Now, what comes out of that? Lupus, Lyme's, fibromyalgia, anything systemic. Oh, my joints hurt all over. I got pain all over. Oh, I'm hard and lumpy all over. I mean, on and on and on, guys. On and on and on. And I don't care what word they associate with it. It's all the same. You line me up, lupus, Lyme's, fibromyalgia, all the arthritises, all of them. You do the same thing on every one of them, and every one of them will get well on you and get their remedy. Every one of them. Our only problem isn't getting someone out of that. It's their compliance with what it takes to do it. And number two, when we're talking about stage 4, that's a very advanced state of acidosis, where now you've got tumors popping everywhere and now you're shutting off vital functions. That is I'm racing to the door to Wellville. I hope I can make it before it closes. Or, you know what? I'm going to do my very best, but I'm going to enjoy the present. And if I need to withdraw my attention from this body because it can't take me anymore, okay, I'll keep going on my journey to something neater. And remember, your friends are always around you. Start being awake to who's around you that you can't see. Remember, I talk a lot about the infinite and a lot about formlessness. Very difficult for the formed to think formless, because the mind can't think formless. It has to have something to chew on. But the formless is the only thing that can be infinite. And it's the only word you can associate with it. It has no beginning. It has no ending. Where do we hear that from? It is omnipresent, omnipotent. Where do we hear that from? and consciousness in Buddhism and Hindu. It's all omnipresent. Cool stuff. Even though you can't see it, it invades everywhere. Then there is nowhere that it is not. So you can use that spiritually to understand the now, the present moment, and where you have to be to enjoy that level of awareness. Hey, you got a question? Oh, come on in. Hey, come on. Okay. All right. Is it something they can hear, or do you need to turn that off?
Yeah, I probably need to turn it off.
All right. See that little red button right there? Sorry, guys. Hang tight. Now, right here on the side. Just
right
push
here?
in on it. Yep. Thanks, ladies. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Dale.
Yep. Sorry about that. We have so many cases out there. Some people want to commit suicide. They're so advanced in their cases, and we have to get them off of that and down in realizing they're a decent person and that they can fix themselves, because there's just so many people hurting so bad. A lot of them just want to kill themselves, and we see that all the time. And then they're on the antidepressants and anti-anxieties, which even want to make them kill themselves even more. And what the medical establishment doesn't realize is these are endocrine gland problems that can be well fixed. These are not psychological issues. They appear to be. But remember, the appearance of something isn't always what it is. But one of the things we had to laugh at, because Shannon came in at the same time, was this whole ridiculous genetic gene thing. You do not have the gene to detoxify with. Shannon had one of the greatest astute things, and since there's children watching this, I'm only going to use the initials because you guys will get this. But you know the gene, it starts out with MF. My mother, you know what I'm talking about? So you have to understand that somebody up there got together and said, these genes, because they're now pulling this gene bull crap that they have they don't even know what causes anything, let alone to venture into the genetic world. Are you kidding me? This is arrogance beyond belief. But I see it all the time. I've read it even from you guys, sending me in a letter and a question, and there that you were told you had the gene you couldn't detoxify with, which is I'm going to try to see if I can make some sense out of that and still be halfway spiritual with it, because from consciousness, from the all in the all that we talk about so much, from that present moment awareness, it all doesn't matter. It all doesn't gel. So when you get into this level, you have chemistry. Now, chemistry comes from the all. Okay, but we'll use the mind and separate that. All right, detoxification comes from chemicals, from a chemical interaction. Actually, ionization is a big part of detoxification in actuality, because when you get acidic, it isn't a genetic problem. It could be with the weakness of the kidneys. But when you burn protein, you acidify the body. And protein is the first thing you damage kidneys and GI tracts with. Well established, particularly in the GI tract. So your protein consumption's the problem. And I've tried to demonstrate that through all these videos in Science News, all the news that I'm showing you, showing that proteins are always at the bottom or at the core of the problem. Always. Not carbon, proteins. So you have to understand that. So when you eat high-protein diets, which man does, and a high-protein diet to me is more than 20 grams of protein a day. And really, if it's dead tissue, it's still got a negative kick on you because you put that vibration in you, and there's still some chemistry there. So if you acidify and you damage your kidneys, this is how genetics start in the first place, but that's only the consciousness of the cells. We're talking the interaction of fluids and what happens in chemistry. So when they say they don't have the genes to detoxify, I gotta laugh because it's chemistry that causes that. We move you from an acid state to an alkaline state, and guess what happens? And you can witness this same thing by being a milk drinker, going from say a Florida being a milk drinker and going up into the North cold climate. You're going to immediately probably catch a cold and flu-like symptom. you're going to immediately come down with a cold. Why? Because you're congested, and alkalinity detoxifies, hydrates, and hydration loosens and creates expectoration. That's simple. Acids create agglomulation. Get a chemistry book and read it up. And that agglomulation is what causes that locking and breaking down of the cells. As that one lady on the last video could smell her breath. She's smelling the decay probably of her own tissue. And she could have impacted proteins in the bowels and stomach, of course. But she could be smelling her own flesh being broken down by her own sewer system. Because that's what kills us, bottom line. Because eventually, as the sewer system fails, it will make the blood fail, eventually. But this idea of you don't have a gene to detoxify and get the initials of the gene. Yeah, it's pretty much a struggling modality. I don't know. It's bad. Enough said. We all have to work together. Medical, naturopathic, chiropractic. Get away from this crap of differences here. And everybody get online with what works and what doesn't work. Boot the booty out. Because pharmaceutical world is on its way out. Not in. You can't continue along this vein. You know, some of these people think they can keep getting away with stuff like this. And keep getting away with it year after year after year after year. That's because the people we elect is not protecting us. So some people are trying to protect themselves, which is a sad thing. Like this one gentleman that burned his house down and flew his airplane into the IRS building. I felt sorry for that guy. They took him that far. Somebody should have been arrested and strung up. Poor guy. It's sad. But they do things that are like that out there. This is Merlin. Oh. First off, thank you for doing what you do. You're welcome, my dear one. You give me hope. Oh, yeah, I read that. My name is Melly. I'm still working on this one. Sorry, guys. That little interruption took me off. Anyway, she started experiencing all these symptoms. Let's see. Since then, I ran into a holistic doctor who had an idea of what was going on with me, which was good. But he prescribed food-based supplements that seemed to help make the anxiety and brain fog go away. But after a while, I just couldn't afford it. So I stopped taking them and relied on a healthier diet. I eliminated dairy, pastas, and bread from my diet. Perfect. That was excellent, my dear. Now, the other thing to eliminate is dead animals. Beans. I certainly don't feel as bad as I did a year ago, but my eyes are still red and my anxiety comes and goes. I think my adrenals are calling for help. Yeah. I would love some advice, please. I have a 3-year-old son, who I love so dearly, and I just can't find the energy to play with him all the time. I'd love to give him his mommy back. Oh, honey, you're 28 years old, and as you can see, at 28, kidney and adrenals, and you really want to look at this, sweetheart, because, again, you're having low blood pressure and low blood sugar. That's your adrenal glands. So you're looking at a 3-year-old. So if you got them 9 times out of 10, your baby's got it, but worse. Remember, that at the time you got yours, what have you been doing all those years since you've been born? Have you been making your genetics better and cleaning your lymph system from your mother and all that? No, most people don't. So by the time you reach 20, 30, and I've given you some cases to show you that at 30 years old, there's about 10 years. So let's say you came down with pancreatic, we'll use their word, cancer, and you had a daughter that had the same genes. She would probably, and you were 30, she'd probably come down with it at 20. Only because, not that she's coming down with a disease, but that weakness, those weaknesses. And remember, those weaknesses are already registered genetically in those tissues. So your downline has to work not only lymphatics, but on top of genetic weaknesses, which exacerbates the whole problem, because remember, in iridology, we can see that in genetic weaknesses, the lymphatic system is already compromised, and explains why we see the problems in the weak areas first. Almost as if nature wants to squeeze that area off and get rid of it. So, you got to work on your kidneys and your adrenal glands, my dear one, and your lymphatic system. That is really key. The thing about supplements is, and even food-based supplements, go to your herbs because they're specific on tissues. So you have specific herbs for specific tissues. And learning the body a little bit is always fun and not difficult. And then you can always fix it. I thought I had several of these, did I? I thought I had a bunch of these laying here, but maybe not. I don't know. Oh well. It's because I'm out of time. Almost out of time, guys. Wow, there's so many things going on here. But, yeah, you want to get out of this. And I have to say, I don't see anything in here that would suggest pituitary or parathyroid or depression or anything like that, because if you ladies have postpartum depression, I want you to remember that that is the parathyroid thyroid gland, and that means you're low in calcium, and your baby's going to have serious problems in their growth factors with that if you're not careful. Okay, so I don't see anything here other than that. You have to go after your lymphatic system, and that's your kidneys, adrenals, your skin. Heart palpitations, that could be thyroid, parathyroid yet. You have to look at that. Of course, could be adrenals, could be GI tract, but you are getting some stuff that are up in the head area, so it could suggest that you're involved in this area as well, lymphatically. Again, pull a picture of your eyes. But most of what you're asking here is definitely kidney and adrenals and lymphatically related. The fact that your sclera is so red shows you that your whole lymph system is backed up. That means your babies are backed up too. 3 years old should be on fruits, berries, and melons only. You really should put your baby right on that. Did I, okay. Let's see what I've got time here for. All right, let's see. It sounds like a Gorin. I am aware you are a doctor and a well-educated man, and for these two reasons alone, I encourage myself to write you a well-structured, profound letter with limits to expression by words that cannot fully grasp or describe the emotions I am trying to project, simply because we have not yet evolved as human beings to the point where we create words to describe human beings such as myself. Well, that's a profound statement right off, my dear man. Pretty profound. I guess I'm trying to express my deepest appreciation for the work you are doing and the way you are doing it. Oh, man, I love you, man. Thanks. I know this planet can only rotate in the right direction for anyone who takes their time to hear what you have to say. Thank you, and God bless. Thank you. Thank you so much. That was kind. That was kind. Much love, man. Much love, man. You okay? Usually that's where I would write regards, signed, etc. But now I'm asking for a bit of advice as a friend, so I am going to be a bit less. Oh, that's okay. Let's see what's going on. Oh, look at this. You know, that's pretty articulate for a 24-year-old. Interesting. I am 24 years old and still have cystic acne breakouts as well as premature hair loss and thinning. See, and this is the thing that I've been driving here, is that I just don't like that at all. I'm like you. I don't like that at all. Well, but this is, I just don't like it. You're 24 years young, and I don't like that at all. And it just shows you how bad your lymphatic system is. And you just have to work on your kidneys and lymphatic system and ride whatever it takes you down the road, because I don't know anything else. There isn't anything you can magically make it disappear with. I know they got wands, and I know they got all these kind of things. But it doesn't make chemistry magically disappear. You got to use chemistry to make chemistry change. If we were in the middle worlds, we could make things disappear and appear. That's easy. But we're not in the middle worlds. We're very stuck in this archaic world of chemistry. A very finiteness, if I have to say. No offense. But claustrophobic. But it's enough to say that the cystic acne and the premature hair loss and thinning I don't like any of that. And that tells me that you're loaded, in the scalp at least. And you're loaded with lymph. And it's stagnant. You're not filtering when you're 24 years old. And that, I've been saying this, and whether people believe me or not, but kidney and adrenals. You're at the age where everybody comes through with kidney and adrenals. It's just that more and more we're seeing worse and worse. We just had a discussion about that earlier. We're seeing worse and worse every year. Then it's like, oh my God, people are waking up to true genetics. Oh, genetic gene. Oh, that one had to hurt. I laughed so hard it hurt my ribs one time when I first heard that. Oh my God. But this is serious stuff here. And that's lymph stagnation, and you want to at all costs work this program. Get those kidneys to filter 24-hour dry fast along with the raw foods, the fruits, berries, and melons. Get yourself up there. I would say if I was you, I'd definitely pull my eyes and have a look at this and see how much lymphatic stagnation I've got. Now, look at this. And somehow feel like it's all happening before its time or because of some kind of imbalance. It's not an imbalance. That's what a lot of naturopaths were going after when they didn't understand acidosis and lymphatic stuff and stagnation. And a lot of them still don't. But it's not about being out of balance. It's being out of balance in one way. You ate acid-forming foods in your life and mucus-forming foods, and this is what you got. Remember the letter I read from the old boy out back? Understanding that certain foods, particularly the protein-rich foods, are mucus-forming and inflammatory or causing acidosis. And we have loved our proteins. Got to have our proteins. And the price is horrendous. Horrendous. Now, or whether it's hormonal or diet or whatever, it just feels like I have caused it by neglecting and not listening to my body. Well, we all do that. Don't beat yourself up, man. We all do that. We're not trained to listen, especially the male principle. The female principle is more trained spiritually than the male. The male is more external. The female is more internal. That's why they're always playing mind games with it. And I had a big salad. A salad can actually sometimes make me thirsty. I was, for 3 years under a heavy weightlifting regimen. Oh, this person was under a heavy weightlifting regimen, and although in the eyes of society I looked healthy, yeah, see that? I'm glad you're bringing this up, my dear one, because that's exactly what it is. Someone asked me years ago when I was doing these about that. Well, they look good on the outside. I had a lady in here one day that she looked pretty good on the outside, but it's the first time I saw McGowan's. And, I get the itchy just thinking about this lady. I mean, my staff was gloves, Clorox, bleach, everything. Oh no, this was bad. That poor thing was leaving parasites falling out of her as she's walking off. Oh. Yeah, yeah, and her daughter was really infected. I mean, they can feel them moving all in their bodies. We can watch her skin moving. I mean, I remember that case. That was bad. That was bad. I remember that case. That's the fun thing about doing this. You run into all kinds of cases. Now, I just don't feel healthy, especially when I slowed down and took some time to think about what I was fueling my body with. Food for thought. Meat. Yeah, and you can't get healthy on that. That's just dead tissue. If you were a lion, yeah, but you're a Homo sapien. And so that's as close to the primate family as you can get, but a higher evolved, wouldn't we all agree? So, and not being negative, because these are just physical bodies. I'm not talking about consciousness. I'm just talking about the physical bodies. It's a higher order. So we're for sure frugivores. And anyone that gets living on them, like that old man out back, knows why. Because of how good you feel. Look at Hildy. Had all the shrapnel, basically, taken out of her, and no bleeding. Went under surgery with no bleeding. See, Hildy, you guys are trend and pace setters. I mean, we got a good world coming if we could just get some balance to this one. Because look at the level you guys are achieving. You literally are blowing the minds of this world, of what you can achieve. So it is a wonder that we got an MF a gene that will allow you to detoxify. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. To cut the story short, I am not eating and drinking fruits every day. I would be. Move yourself back to that. I mean, I know we're in the wintertime and stuff, but if you can, warm up on some hot chocolate. No, I didn't say that. No. Warm yourself up with some herbal teas. If you have to have some green drinks to bring you down a little bit, okay. Have some bananas. That's a little low on the totem pole there in the fruit category. So, yeah. I have cut meat out of my life with a small exception to occasional fish only because I have just started reprogramming my body to adapt to its natural state. If you're hurting, though, don't worry about reprogramming. Jump in. The water's nice. The advice I am looking for is any type of raw fruit diet that you can recommend as a plan to have all the vitamins and minerals that will allow my body to regenerate, detoxify, flourish, and shine in this life. That's why I read you that story about the old man out back. So you'll get some idea that if you're 100 years old, you can thrive, ride horses, move cattle, and just eat fruit and water. So it's a misplaced thinking, because you look at the dark grapes, there's more nutrition than any other fruit on the planet, probably. Same thing with blueberries and blackberries. The nutrition up there is out the roof. Tell me what else you eat that has more. Meat? Sorry, big disappointment. Grains? Oh, no, big disappointment. Oh, beans? Big disappointment. You got anything else, got me? Come on. Dairy products. Now that'll kill you. See what I'm saying? There's nowhere to go. The only place to go is the magnificence and the flavors of the tree-ripe fruits, berries, and melons. You know, it's just amazing. Good blackberries, fresh off the vine. Oh, mix them with a little milk, ice cream it. Oh, see? That's the problem. Blueberries, incredible. All these full of flavonoids. Where are you going to get better chemistry? That's the thing people don't understand. They're going, well, fruit can't have anything in it because it's fruit. Who's it designed for? See, to think that fruit isn't designed for humans, or to think fruit isn't full of nutrition, not the fruit that some farmers grow, but the fruit that nature grows. Has everything for the species. Remember, what food is for omnivores or not for herbivores or not for frugivores. There might be some crossing, but we are designed to utilize the food at the level that it comes in chemistry. We're not designed to be herbivores. Take a look at a herbivore and what they have to go through with the vegetables. Talking too much, but I gotta go. It's about to 5 o'clock and you're going to see a herd of people getting out of here. Ixay on the fish, because if you're thinking you can get things in fish or in meat that you can't get anywhere else, that's medical thinking. And look where they are. They're in trouble. Their health's in trouble and they're in trouble. No. If you want a piece of fish, it's only because you want some dead animal tissue, not because your body does. All right, now, the advice I am looking for in any type of raw food, grapes, blueberries, blackberries, fruits, berries. Oh, did we talk about that? Fruits, berries, and melons. Melons not so much, guys, but great. Look at watermelon. Kick your butt if you're not careful. It's all good, all nutritious, but how much nutrition do you think you need? Especially if you digest perfectly, you absorb perfectly, you utilize perfectly, and you eliminate perfectly the waste. How much nutrition do you think you really need to run this machine? And especially if you're living in the present moment, which is in the power of all things, not a lot. Because you'll overpower yourself up. You've still been chronic fatigue, you'll be going bzz, bzz, bzz. A lot of energy. Good stuff. Happy stuff. It's well worth it, guys. Well worth it. Tuck it up. Take a little discipline, my dear one. Goran. Is that it? G-O-R-A-N, Goran. All right. Whenever you get time to respond, please do so at your own pleasure. Information to me. Okay. Once again, thank you. Big thank you, Goran. Big thank you, man. Love you. Thanks for the sweet words of love. I love you, too. Well, this is a real short video, but you guys like short ones. Some of you. So I tell them we have another real short one. But I'll keep plowing away because if I can help just one of you, I'm tickled pink. But when we can help tens of thousands of people, then I feel like that life has some good stuff to it too. You know, things can't always be negative, and we've been in negative cycles. So it's time to create positive cycles, isn't it? Absolutely. And we create our own world, right? Right. And no one controls us, right? Right. And we have all our power. We have ourselves, right? Right. So, and no one is holding and suppressing you down, right? Right. So enjoy life. Have some fun in life. That's why you're here. Learn if you want, grow if you want, but learn also how to sit back and bask, or however you wish to say it, bask in the sun or the light of the all. Because by pulling yourself in that present moment where there is no time, there is no space, there's no limitation. And when you're pulled away from your body, you lose form. And all of this becomes formless, and yet you become more awake. You're more awake, not the same body, much better bodies. So it all gets better, 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 unless you keep turning here because you keep creating negative things and keeping yourself at these levels. You're the only one that can free yourself. You're the only one. Not a master, not a guide. A true master would never do that. But he will or she will put her hand out and say, let me help you. And that's what we're doing. Let us help you get here and get well. So with great love, we'll see you on the next video, or maybe before.